Hello out there in internet land. It's your favorite misanthrope and your favorite morbidly obese overeater. It's Fat and Angry. He's fat and I'm angry. What do you have to say, Fats?
Well, the other day I was talking to famed football star Dick Butkus, and I was explaining to him how I was feeling really depressed and out of touch with life, and asked him, what he thought the meaning of life was, and he says, I have the coolest name in the world. I don't need to know the meaning of life. And I was like, well, yeah, you do have a cool name, sir, but I think Maximus Bearfighter would be cooler. And so he slapped the chili dog out of my hand and said, fuck you, fatty.
Well, thank you for that story, that inspirational story. I'm sure it'll inspire many kids to join the great American sport of football. It is June 26th, 2018, and today we're going to talk about something that is very relevant currently, and unfortunately, and that is pests, and in particular, a pest that we have to deal with at great length here in South Texas, mosquitoes.
Yeah. So I'm sure some of you all out there think that the stories of South Texas mosquitoes are exaggerated. I'm going to have to say no, because each year I get more and more surprised with how big they get. The new apartment I moved into, it's near a water tower, so there's a big open field. And needless to say, it's an excellent breeding ground for mosquitoes and the kind of humidity we have down here in South Texas.
Where when it's at 70%, it's considered dry.
Yeah. So, as I'm walking towards the door of my apartment, if you're not familiar with this particular species, it's called a mosquito hawk. It looks like a mosquito, but it's much larger, and they eat other mosquitoes. They're about an inch around. And I thought there was a bunch of mosquito hawks near my porch light. I thought, okay, cool, they're going to be eating mosquitoes, but as soon as I get close enough to my door, they start swarming on me and begin eating me, which mosquito hawks do not do. So
they're going after your tasty greases.
Yes, and despite how unhealthy I am, mosquitoes don't get diabetes, so...
Oh God, if only they did. I'd like to see some slow, fat...
Corpus would murder them if they did. It'd be better than DDT. Bring that shit back. Fuck the Eagles. I ain't patriotic enough to put up with this bullshit.
Like, you might want to explain that in detail. You told me about this earlier, but for the sake of our listeners...
I don't know the absolute truth on this, but I heard that DDT, the most effective poison known for killing mosquitoes, was banned because it was making the eggshells on bald eagles thinner. Now, I don't know what exactly health effects that would have on the eagles, but you know what? Fuck the eagles.
Well, we don't have any bald eagles down here in South Texas. We don't even really have much by way of eagles at all. We have a couple of hawks, which are not very prevalent. It's like I see one maybe.
I see them maybe twice a year.
Yeah, it's like it's like where I work. It's like out in the boonies, so like maybe around 4 or 5 times a year for me. I see a fuckload of vultures and buzzards. We got a lot of those. But they are not like, the graceful, like, dancers of the sky. These are, they look like the two, like, like peanut gallery Muppets from the Muppet Show, the two old men.
Yeah, we mostly get seagulls and pigeons, and I don't think there's anything we could really do here to impact their breeding schedules.
Particularly the seagulls. The seagulls here are pretty hardy motherfuckers.
Yeah, the seagulls are borderline vultures down here.
They will eat pigeons and doves. That's how fucking vicious they are.
Yeah. The mosquitoes, meanwhile, will eat everything.
Now, we had an issue where this is kind of, let me describe how the ecology and weather patterns work here in South Texas. Generally, we'll go through a drought, and even still right now we're at stage 1 drought. because unfortunately our city decided it would be a great idea to get its water source from an area in South Texas where I don't know if there's like a fucking force field or if there's like a mad scientist that's conducting experiments where the conditions need to be as dry as fucking possible. But these lakes where we get our water from, it never fucking rains there. It never fucking rains there. It does not rain there, sir. Period. It will rain every fucking where else but these goddamn lakes. Case in point, we've been at a drought. We have gotten...
Oh, and to make matters worse, when we first built the pipelines, these lakes, they broke so many times, so we had a water shortage from that too.
Well, that was later. It's like a couple of years back, they actually built, and they spent a lot of fucking taxpayer dollars. I mean, millions of taxpayer dollars to build an underground pipeline to a lake out up north. I think it was near Austin or Houston or something like that. I know it has something to do with UT because there's apparently a lake that sometimes students at UT that were, I don't know, like forensic studies or something, they would do diving there. And they had some metal sculptures that they put in this lake to act as dive targets. You know, like something for divers to actively look for while they're underwater. Now, to prove to you just how fucking stupid some of the people in charge of our city are, when they were building this pipe to go to this lake, now, not only was the pipe construction very expensive and difficult, because this pipe's going underground for over 100 miles, hundreds of miles, but while they were building this pipe, the pipe wasn't even done yet. We had some news crew guys from our local news over at the lake, and just to show how bountiful the water in this lake was, the lowest scuba target that they had in that lake was currently about 6 feet above the water line. I'm going to repeat that because that bears repeating, as Lois Black would say. The lowest scuba target, the lowest thing that you're supposed to find in this fucking lake while you are diving, was 6 feet above the fucking water line. That's how low this fucking lake was. I had to think to myself, this inlet that's going to be drawing water from this lake better be like a fucking sink basin, like at the bottom of the goddamn lake. Because if we put it on the side of that lake, it's not going to pull up shit, because the water's too fucking low. It's like this is your solution. This is where you're going to fucking get water from. You're drilling a dry fucking hole, literally. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, that is beyond fucking stupid. Yeah, needless to say, guess what? This fucking lake doesn't help our lake levels. Currently, as I'm speaking, we're below 40%. Now, back to what I was saying. We've been in a drought since the beginning of the year. We had a lot of water last year because we had a fucking hurricane come through the area. And hurricanes tend to fucking do that. But yeah, we had a rain surplus last year. We haven't really had much of any rain all year. It's been very dry.
Yeah.
Hence why we are now at below 40% combined lake levels. Because we pull water from 3 lakes, not including the lake that this pipeline is attached to. That's not included in the equation.
Because it doesn't really pump water.
You want to talk about a bridge to nowhere? How about a pipeline to nothing? An oil pipeline would have been more successful. Are you kidding me? So we had no rain. So suddenly the high pressure that was squatting on top of our area and keeping all the rain away moved off. And once this moved off, low pressure started moving in, and it started pulling a lot of tropical moisture. Now, we sit right on the coast. If you don't know where Corpus Christi is, just Google it or look it up on Google Maps or something. We sit right on the fucking Gulf Coast, right on the water.
Yeah. Or look up hairy women's assholes, and it'll be similar on the map.
Bleached assholes. How many times must I tell you this?
No, this is hairy.
I didn't say waxed. I said bleached. It's a lot of blonde hair there to look at. But yeah, so there was a lot of moisture that looked like it was trying to pull itself into a small tropical storm or depression. It didn't get the opportunity, and it just got sucked into our area because of the low pressure moving in. Moisture tends to coalesce where low pressure is. That's why when you see hurricanes and they start to dissipate, they turn into lows. Anyway, enough of Weather Channel nonsense.
Yeah, this isn't supposed to be an educational program, damn it.
So all this rain comes in, and it rained for like 3 days straight. And like we made up for all the rain we hadn't had, and we're now at a rain surplus. We went from like, God, I think it was like 6 inches below normal to like now we're 5 inches above normal in terms of the rainfall. So we got almost 10 inches of rain in the course of 3 days. Now, unfortunately, none of that got to the fucking watershed, so our combined lake levels are still below 40%. So all that rain had no fucking help to us whatsoever. Nothing like getting your car flooded with water while you're being told by the city of don't water your lawn because we don't have enough fucking water.
Yeah. Now all that water, it did end up in the street curbs and the ditches and
every fucking where else, yes.
Where the mosquitoes breed.
Yes, those of you who live up north or live in places that by the grace of whatever god you fucking worship doesn't have mosquito issues, mosquitoes need 2 things. They need standing water, which they need to breed. If they don't have standing water, they cannot lay their eggs. They don't need much. You can literally have a mosquito lay as many as 5 eggs in a teaspoon of water. Not a tablespoon, a teaspoon. Which, like, look at your pinky. That's more than a teaspoon in terms of its shape. That's how much little water they need. We have empty lots in the area that have become fucking lakes. Just stagnant ponds. And so these are prime mosquito breeding grounds. And they don't even need that much water. You could have just little bumps in your lawn. If they catch water and that water doesn't move and flow, that's a mosquito breeding ground. And it's going to be there as long as the water's there. The second thing mosquitoes need is high grass, because that's where they tend to rest when they're not sucking the life fluids out of your body. Also, the male mosquitoes, believe it or not, females are the only ones that suck blood. They suck blood so that they can have nutrients for their eggs. The males don't bite people. I've always found that to be completely strange, but it's the truth. Apparently, the male mosquitoes will just, they'll attack plants and shit and get their nutrients from them. Which upsets me. It's like, well, the fucking male mosquitoes can do that. Why the female ones got to be such assholes about it?
Yeah.
But whatever.
You may use the C word for this one.
The female mosquitoes are cunts. Okay? I said it. In every fucking sense of the word.
This time, Fats approves of the use of the word cunts.
But yeah, it's just like, geez. And so, here's how it works. Mosquito goes around, mosquito mates, female mosquito, once she has fertilized eggs, bites you, sucks your blood. Once she has your blood, she goes to a stagnant pond or any standing water, lays her eggs. Eggs within a day will turn into larvae, and they stay as a larva for about a day. So about a day and a half after they lay their eggs, they're already coming out of the water, becoming more mosquitoes.
Blood-sucking parasites.
So they don't even need 2 whole days. It's less than 2 days for this life cycle to go. So they can multiply extraordinarily fast.
Yep. And
I don't know where they fucking hide when it's dry, because it was dry here before the rains came.
Yeah, that's something I've always wondered about, because it's like before the rain, we don't have mosquitoes, really.
Well, they're there. They're just not prevalent because there's always going to be standing water somewhere.
Yeah.
You're going to have like a broken pipe because of the heat and the streets buckling. You're going to have people like, watering their lawns and like, little deposits of water that don't drain all the way. You're going to have like, kids like with pool parties or something, and they splash water. It's going to land in like a plastic toy, or maybe they got a slip and slide that doesn't dry out completely, and some of the plastic wrinkles catch water. You're always going to have somewhere where there's going to be standing water for mosquitoes to breed. But just to point out, we weren't getting eaten alive 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's like there was mosquitoes. It was not a huge epidemic. Now we have so many mosquitoes that they would have written about this shit in the Bible. It would have been in there. It would have been like locusts, frogs, fucking mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Then like, the lake turning into blood and all the unnecessary shit. But fuck the mosquitoes, man.
Yeah, I can go outside, spend 10 minutes out there, and I can take
die.
And take an hour off my dialysis at least. Now, I have a couple mosquito stories. I don't know how much Angry has, but
oh, trust me, I got plenty. But you go first. Mine are gonna take a while.
One of the more amusing ones I can think of is back when I worked at the halfway house. We had to check the clients in before they were actually allowed in the building, make sure they didn't have contraband. And this was something we had.
Did you sprinkle them with like lye and like hit them with the fire hose?
No, we weren't. We weren't trained for that.
Damn.
But no, we had to search over them with a metal detector, and we have to do this outside.
Fuck that.
Now, the clients, they're bitching and moaning about it, and rightfully so, because they're getting torn out by mosquitoes, but they're only out there as long as they're in the fucking line. I gotta check in 100 fucking people with a metal detector outside, dealing with all their fucking bitching, and getting them to calm the fuck down long enough to do the search, and I am getting shredded by these fucking little shrapnel scissors with wings. And I was just pounding the shit out of them as they landed on me. Eventually, I got so sick of like trying to bother wiping off the blood that I went inside, just covered in fucking blood and gore.
I'm guessing you look like someone had shot you a couple of times with bird shots.
And one of my managers, she didn't notice my arms, and she asked me to do something, and I held up my arms and said, yeah, just let me finish washing the blood off my hands first. And she had this horrified look on her face, like I had just mangled one of the clients with my hands. Because she's been inside all day in her comfy fucking chair with her AC and her coffee, while I'm getting torn alive by these
fucking coffee.
Yeah, where mosquitoes can't breed.
I don't know. I'd hate to imagine what kind of fucking really fast and hyperactive mosquitoes you get. They bred in coffee.
Jesus, monkey Christ.
It's like, that's not a fucking experiment I'm willing to try.
I water my plants with Mountain Dew and see what happens. Fat, you fuck!
You doomed us all! Be like that scene from The Stand when they're like trying to run from the base and the infection. It just spreads to the rest of the world.
Atomic mosquitoes. And some mad scientist out there tries to top me, uses Mountain Dew Live Wire, gets his whole fetching can of Surge.
They've upgraded to Red Bull. We'll have to use nukes. It's the only way to be sure.
Alright, we're going to Mars. Ain't no mosquitoes on Mars.
As far as we know, little fuckers will probably follow us through the vacuum of space.
Oh, yeah.
They're so goddamn hardy.
It's just be roaches and mosquitoes on Mars.
Before you tell another story, real quick, we got a new manager over at the funeral home. And he says that he's out of Houston. And he says, like, he was out on his porch, and immediately I wanted to say, I was like, what the fuck were you doing out on your porch here in Corpus? but I kept it to myself. He says, I was out on my porch the other night, and like I noticed there was like a lot of mosquitoes, and they're big. I mean, the ones we have over in Houston is like they're really small. I was like, yes, because that's Houston. This is Corpus, son. The mosquitoes here do not fuck around.
They do not.
They're not in the habit of taking names. They're all about just taking blood, all of it, slavish amounts. Fuck. You got another story?
Well, there was one time I was helping my stepbrother moved, and he had a trailer house out in the middle of an open field with
Of course he did.
With tall grass near a swamp on a really humid summer night. And mosquitoes are more active at night.
They're active always. The news is like if the news would have you believe that they're only active 2 times a day, dawn and dusk, I say fuck that. It's 24/7.
Oh yeah, they're active all day,
and all night. They don't sleep. They're like ants.
But they are a lot more active at night. But yeah, the heat does not deter them, unlike everything else in Corpus, including their predators. But yeah, so I'm helping him move, and of course the mosquitoes are just in an apocalyptic abundance. And I have no tolerance for itchy, which is exactly what mosquito bites do. And I will tear open the skin past the point that they bit so that there is no more itchy.
There's also no more meat.
Yeah, and I got bit by so many mosquitoes, I had these caverns torn in my arms along all of my veins. You can see.
You probably look like Baraka from Mortal Kombat if like you took all the metal out of his arms.
Well, I looked like I picked up a heroin habit, that's for damn sure.
I started taking croc, can you tell?
Hey, guys, check out what I learned. I love band camp.
Yeah, that reminds me of one of our mutual friends. He used to have to move a lot because he was moving from one apartment to another because he was not in the habit of being told what to do at his jobs, which made holding a job very difficult for him. So when he was moving into his last apartment before he finally moved back in with his folks, when we first got there, of course, it's like tall grass everywhere, right next to a field, lots of standing water. Because that's the thing, is like here in Corpus, all of the ground is clay. It's all clay, which means that the upper soil is only like not even a foot before you start hitting the hard clay. And while clay does drain, it does so very fucking slowly. I mean, real slow. So standing water is a huge fucking issue. And it takes very little rain for the ground to get saturated. And once that ground's saturated, there ain't no amount of draining that's going to help you. You have to wait for the water to evaporate. So you will literally have standing water that'll be out there for 2-3 months. That's a pond that refuses to fucking go away. And that just becomes a giant fucking mosquito mecca. Yeah. So it's this duplex set out here and like right next to a field. I mean, there's literally a cow some 15 feet from his back porch. He can go up to and like pet if he fucking wanted to. And when we were helping him move in, we turn on the light to the apartment and the walls are covered. I mean, fucking covered in mosquitoes to the point where if you were looking at this thing from afar, it would look like someone like just like sprayed polka dots all over the wall. Like someone just took a paintbrush with black paint and just fucking flecked it all over all of the fucking walls. All of these little black dots everywhere. There must have been thousands of them in the living room alone. And they were just sitting there in the dark waiting because they fucking knew we were going to be there that night. And I had to go because I had to be up at like 8 in the morning the next day, so I just helped them move the stuff and then I had to bounce out of there. And they told me that it was like they had a fucking mosquito Armageddon there. Like literally one of the guys that was part of our group that had the nickname Mad, not because he was angry, but because he had issues. And one of the things he did to try to get rid of the mosquitoes was he hurled himself against the sheetrock wall and started rolling around and like trying to turbine all the mosquitoes to death with his body. And I'm kind of disappointed I didn't get to see that, but I probably saved a couple of pints of my blood just for not being there.
Yeah, I've had mosquitoes that they're so big they make a crunch when you smack them. Now normally they just pop because they're full of blood, but some of them, their heads are big enough that they almost have armor, and they crunch. They're not supposed to crunch.
It's like, what is this? Rice Krispies, or is this a fucking bug? It's like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, man, you can get... It's like I don't know what's worse, the big ones or the small ones. The big ones take the most blood, but they're the easiest to hit because even if you're swinging at them, a glancing blow will knock them to the ground, and then you just stomp on them like you're Steve Austin back in the 90s.
I would say, despite the fact that they hurt more, I prefer the bigger ones just because you know when they land on you, they're big enough that you can feel it. The small ones, you usually won't notice until they disconnect, and that's when the itchy starts.
Yes, more edumacation learnings here.
And so they got away with your blood, and they're going to make more.
There's like a bit of info here. How mosquito bites work is that when they inject you, they put their saliva into your blood. This does two things. For one, it numbs you, so that you're less likely to feel them there and biting you. Two, it keeps your blood from coagulating, so it's easier for them to suck up. Now, the thing is that the human body has evolved to react like badly to this, but it's on a delay. So once they leave and the numbing effect wears off, that's why you get the itching. That's why you get the swelling. That's why you get that little pink or red bump on you that itches like a motherfucker. I'm thinking, God, if they could just find some way to genetically engineer mosquitoes, well, for one, if they could engineer a way to, make them all die off, that'd be fucking great. Scientists, please fucking get on that quick.
Right, some sort of poison that they inoculate with you, like vaccines, that you just...
Hey, you can give, stuff to dogs where it makes when fleas bite them, the fleas die. Why can't you do that with people, or when they get bitten by mosquitoes, the mosquitoes die? It's like, I will fucking eat a dog treat with medicine in it, if that's what it fucking takes.
I would fucking love that. Just knowing that I am a fucking toxic waste plant to those things.
I don't care if it makes me smell like, a dumpster fire. I will do what it fucking takes to get these mosquitoes off of me. Come hell or high water, I don't give a shit if it makes me a social outcast. I'm already hiding in my house to avoid getting eaten alive, okay?
At least if we all take it, we all stink together. We know we're doing something good for the environment.
It's if enough people did it, I'm pretty sure that it would just become common, and eventually you get used to it. Yeah. It's like if you live in squalor, you get used to the smell. It's only people who come to visit you is like, ugh, what's that smell? It's like, what smell? Fuck off. But God, just as unfortunately, I got it, man, we get it so bad at the funeral home. Because our funeral home, our main hub, is out in the boonies, like I said earlier. And it is surrounded on 3 sides, not 1, not 2, 3 sides, by high grass fields that flood and stay flooded whenever there's a rain. And guess what? We are now surrounded on 3 sides by fucking marshlands.
Yeah. And your job already sucks without that.
It's like, yes. It's like when I have to park cars out in the parking lot, I have to be out in the parking lot for about 2 hours. If we have a 10 o'clock service, that means I'm out in the parking lot from 8 to 10 parking cars. And not just pointing where people go, as I've mentioned on some of my angry tirades about work stories. I don't know what it is about people going to funerals. They are the dumbest fucks on the planet. These people don't understand basic shapes and colors. much less like, proper directions. They don't know their left from their right. They don't know up from down. They don't know anything. How they managed to get there that morning without choking to death on their own fucking tongue is beyond me. So I'm already not in a good mood having to be out here in like 90, usually right now it's been around 92 to 94 degrees.
In a very humid environment.
Yes, in a humid environment, when it's 100% humidity, which it is right now, it has been for a while, even when it's quote-unquote dry, it's still like 80 to 90% humidity.
Yeah.
Because like I said earlier, I've seen the index. I've seen the news put like the humidity index. 100% is considered like humid. 90% is considered muggy. 80% is considered normal. 70% is considered dry. 70% dry. If you have a gas tank that has 70%, that is 70% full, would you call your gas tank empty? Would you say you're riding on empty? No. You'd say you have like almost 3/4 of a tank. But when it comes to humidity in Corpus, humidity is so fucking high that 70% is considered dry. Fuck that noise, okay? Seriously. And the thing is, there's like the humidity, the mosquitoes fucking love that. I don't know what it is about high humidity. The mosquitoes always fucking come out when the humidity is the highest. When it gets dry, it seems they'll still come out, but not as aggressively. Apparently, they're emboldened by the high humidity. Well, it's probably also body heat. You give enough body heat, it's going to attract mosquitoes. And when it's humid, you sweat, but because it's so fucking humid, the sweat doesn't evaporate from your body. So not only are you getting hotter and hotter and hotter, but now you're also losing all of your fucking fluids and risking dying of dehydration.
Yeah, and down here, when you sweat, you just start boiling yourself alive. It doesn't do anything for...
It's like, I've heard, I've never gotten to experience it, but I've heard in places like Arizona and Nevada, when you sweat, it actually cools you down, which is a fucking alien concept to me.
Yeah, I want to experience it. I am jealous. And I've been to other places, but I've never gotten to sweat to the point that it's pleasant, so...
I've never had the experience of like sweat equals cooling effect.
Yeah.
It's like it's always been sweat is like great. Now I'm surrounded by moist hot air and now hot water.
Yeah.
And now like my socks are like I'm getting trench foot from all the fluid in my socks. And my underwear is now starting to sag down to my knees because it's completely soaked in sweat and is losing its structural integrity.
I've got an underwear story a couple days ago. So, for those of you who don't know, I had a medical condition that basically made it impossible for me to wear underwear. I won't get into all the gory details about it.
And they are gory.
But for a long time, I did not wear underwear. I'd just gotten used to not having it, even after the medical...
You were free-balling like Murderface.
Yes, even after the condition wore off. But I've decided to go ahead and start trying to wear underwear again. And at the Taco Bell bathroom, I forgot to pick my underwear up when I picked up my pants because I wasn't used to wearing underwear again. And I didn't notice until I got back into my workstation, and then the lunch rush shows up. For an hour and 30 minutes, I've got my underwear in a very wrong and painful place. And don't have a valid excuse to get out of there to fix my problem.
No, that is an emergency situation. It's like, I need to go. I got an underwear malfunction that needs to be corrected immediately.
Don't have anybody I can give the drive-through to.
You will fucking put a bucket with a face on a broom and set it up there if you fucking need to. Your anorexic worker was very rude to me.
Well, yes, I pay her to be. I paid the $5 fee. All right, so back to your funeral story.
Yeah, so already just, even when there's no mosquitoes during the summer and parts of the winter, because like it's only as cold here as when we have cold fronts in the winter. Otherwise, the winter is generally around like 88 degrees. Freezing temperatures of 88 degrees. My God, how will we make it through the winter?
Yeah, we'll get snow flurries and people get afraid and they go outside.
What the fuck is that? Evil spirits falling from the sky.
We got a hurricane. We got people partying in the streets saying, "Bring it, bitch."
But like, yeah, so like already like I'm hot. I gotta wear 3 layers of clothing, 3-piece black suit. It has to be black or a very, very dark blue that can be mistaken for black, or a very, very dark gray that can be mistaken for black. I can't wear a fucking white suit like I'm gonna be in a fucking rap video. I can't wear a light pastel colored suit. It has to be a very dark color because I work for a fucking funeral home. So already I'm soaking up the heat of the sun like some sort of goddamn solar generator. And as if that wasn't bad enough, mosquitoes are attracted by dark colors.
And heat.
And heat. Now, from what I've heard, what attracts mosquitoes the most is carbon dioxide. When you exhale, the breath that you give out, the chemicals attracts them like a fly to honey. And also they're attracted by dark colors, particularly dark blue, and they're attracted by body heat. Those 3 things in particular. And unfortunately, when I'm out there, I have all of those 3 things in spade. And like, it's like one of our funeral directors in particular, he's got some sort of fucking sexual fetish with someone being out in the parking lot. We could be having a chapel service where no one is going anywhere, and he still wants me out there parking cars because he doesn't know why. It's just what you need to do. And I'm like, fuck that noise. You want cars parked so much, you go out there and do it. It's like, we're not fucking going anywhere. There's parking spaces there. If I go out there and try to give them any other directions other than what they're going to do, they're going to get confused. And the next thing you know, you're going to see cars. It's going to look like a fucking demolition derby with cars just like crammed on top of each other. Like some shit out of Mad Max Fury Road.
Good movie. No mosquitoes.
Yeah, it was too dry for him over there. And not like Corpus dry, where it's like 70% humidity, but like proper dry.
Yeah, I mean, we get excited about the rain like the way the people did when they gave them the water in Mad Max, but there's no mosquitoes in Mad Max.
It's like, not me, man. When I hear about rain coming, I'm as excited about rain as fucking Noah was. I'm not looking for that because I know what's going to happen, the fucking mosquitoes. And lo and behold, guess what? I'm fucking right. I got my parents like, why are you negative all the time? Because if I wasn't, I'd be wrong all the time, okay? It's the burden of being correct 9 times out of 10. You always have to be pessimistic because then you'll always be correct. And then you also have the added bonus of if you're wrong, then it's a good thing. If you're optimistic, if you're wrong, you're just a dumb bastard. You got everyone's hopes up for nothing. That's why I'm a fucking misanthrope. I'm the Gulf Coast misanthrope. You can call me that along with angry. Whatever, I don't care. But so yeah, so I'm out there and I'm having to essentially act as a walking mosquito buffet. Just if that wasn't bad enough, you go in, the service starts, either the service is there at the chapel or we're going to go out to a church. And then once we're done with that, we got to go out and do the burial. So guess what? Now we got to be out there for another fucking hour, sometimes more. And it's just so bad. It's because we're completely surrounded by all these fucking swamps. They're all mosquito breeding grounds.
And then you have this entourage of, 30 people.
Oh, yeah. It's like, God, just today and yesterday, here's something about funerals that, I don't know if it's a cultural thing, because obviously being in South Texas, we have the majority of the population is Hispanic. I myself am Hispanic. I don't understand my own fucking culture because I find it to be stupid as fuck. It's like, this is my people, my culture, and it boggles my fucking mind. And my parents are always the first ones to go after me about that. It's like, how do you not know your own culture? It's like, because it's stupid. I'm sorry, but it is. Like, it could be a Hispanic thing. I notice that this happens a lot more with Hispanic families than it does with Caucasian families or African American families or any other. Those are generally the three. We don't really get a lot of Asian funerals or Jewish funerals or anything like that. But, so with Hispanic families, I don't know what it is. They always have to dick about at the cemetery. Always. It doesn't matter if it's 110 degrees with a heat index of 135 degrees. It doesn't matter if, like, people are dropping dead right then and there from heat stroke. It doesn't matter if they're thirsty. It doesn't matter if they're hungry. 9 times out of 10, they got a reception waiting for them. It's like, oh, by the way, don't forget, after the burial, the family has, like, food and drinks and fellowship over at the church that you were just at. So be sure to go there before the food gets cold. And yet they're standing out there at the fucking gravesite for an hour and a half. Why? Why? It's not like the dude's going to fucking get up and dance. Jesus isn't going to show up and pull off the shit with Lazarus for your fucking dead family member. I'm sorry. They're dead. They're in the box. They're going in the ground. You know they're going in the ground. Why do you have to stay and watch? Why? I don't fucking get it. I don't understand. And what bugs me is that we have to stay out there. You can call it like, oh, why do you have to be so selfish, Angry? It's like, I'm fucking selfish. I'll say it. I'm selfish. I am selfish as anyone else fucking out there. But I hate being out in the goddamn heat in this goddamn suit, sweating my goddamn balls off. And I hate being out there feeding the goddamn mosquitoes. It's like yesterday, we had this woman, she's out there, and she's standing there, and she's unfortunate looking, is the best way I can describe her. She's fat, and she's got that thing where she's got this very, like, teardrop stomach, where, like, her stomach starts off flat, and then the lower you go, it quickly expands outward, and then, like, right when you get past the belly button, it all just tucks back in, and you end up with, like, this front butt looking thing. And it's just, ugh, it's not good to look at. It's bad. I know it's not nice to say that about overweight people. I know that it's not, there's a lot of the times it's something they can't help, but I'm not here to make fun of them. I'm just telling you how it is. And my God, there's like, she's standing there completely ignorant of the fact that she's got all these mosquitoes on her because she doesn't care. She's going to be out there, she's going to watch the burial, and no force on this fucking planet is going to get her to move until she's damn good and ready to move. I'm watching, she's got like a dozen fucking mosquitoes that are stuck on her fucking undercarriage, hanging on the underside of her gut. Like, you know, sucking out her blood and her fucking whale liver juices. It's horrible. It's like I'm just watching it just going, ugh, I wanted to throw up. It was just fucking slap him. You can't fucking feel that? Jesus fucking Christ, man.
So is it like the kind of fat that hangs out of your shirt that you just can't tuck into your pants? That she
she had it like she had it like tucked in. She was wearing like some sort of like
that.
Well, no, because it made like it really defined just how much her stomach just came out and then tucked back in.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Like one of those where like the stomach goes past the waistline.
Yeah, the fat curtain.
Yeah. It was like a curtain of stomach. And it was just
fat apron, that's what we called it.
Or fat apron, whatever you want to call it. I should have asked you what it was called. I figured if anyone would know, it would be you, Fats.
Yeah, I had a little bit of one going for a while, but thank you, dialysis.
Pulling all of the fluids out you.
Yeah.
De-souping you, pulling all out your gravy. Wow, my dyslexia really fucking kicked in there. It's a good thing that I don't have the time or patience to edit this shit.
Yeah, I've actually told the technicians when they're like putting these blood thinners in my lines, it's like, hey, my gravy blood giving you problems.
It's like, we need an ice pick. It's like, why? We need to break up your fluids. We keep seeing like bacon bits clogging up the line.
Oh, we told you to stay away from bacon. Yeah, but it's fucking bacon. So, given that you told me to do something stupid, I've chosen to ignore it.
And then, like, you know, like today there was this old woman there, and they got her on a wheelchair, and like, God, the mosquitoes are on her, and like they're just biting her on her lip, they're biting her on her forehead, they're like all over her face, and she's too old to either notice or she's too old to do anything about it, and she's just resigned herself to her fate. And I just watching her is making me itch like crazy. And like, you know, I've noticed that like people, they just stand there and they just take it. I can't do that. It's like, unfortunately, I get this from my mother. My mother's the same way, and in some ways she's even worse. Not only do we attract mosquitoes at a rate that I find to be inhuman, but we react very fucking badly with mosquito bites. When I get bit by a mosquito, I get a bump that's about the size of a 50-cent piece that starts pink and turns red. And nowadays, there's like, they used to heal after a day when I was a kid. Now they're there for like 5 or 6 days. And they just itch and itch and itch. And the more you scratch them, the more they itch. And the more you don't scratch them, the more they itch. And I can't fucking take it. It's like I may just fucking take a melon baller to my limbs, so I end up looking like you did when you had your faux heroin habit / scratching fits going on.
Yeah. I think you got to see my arms when I was in the hospital for my first major health crash, and you know I had all those holes, and it looked like, you know, I'd picked up a drug habit, but it was actually worse with the mosquitoes.
I don't remember that. I must have blotted it out or something.
Well, they were drawing blood from me like every 2 hours for several days.
Like they weren't getting tired of the taste. Yeah, I know. They did the same thing to me when I was in the hospital.
But, yeah, the mosquito wounds were actually worse. They healed a lot faster, though.
But, so, like, yeah, and, like, also, there's, like, something else in Hispanic culture. You'll see this sometimes with Caucasian families. I've noticed that with Caucasian families, it tends to be, like, the concept of, we couldn't find a babysitter, they'll bring their kids.
Yeah.
But, like, with Hispanic families, it's like, you can have babysitters. It doesn't matter. I know when I was a kid...
Right, they'll bring the babysitter to the funeral.
It's like, when I was a kid, my parents brought me to every fucking funeral they went to. And man, I was not a willing, like, subject to this. They dragged my unhappy ass kicking and screaming when I was a kid. And they kept doing it. Because it didn't matter how much I didn't want to be there. If there's a funeral, guess what? My ass is going. I never understood why. It's like, why? It's like, well, it's because, like, funerals are, like, one of the few times that, like, they'll actually get together. So they bring your happy ass along so they can show you off to the rest of the family that they don't, like, you know, have enough courtesy or care to see any other fucking time of the year. It's like, oh, we would see each other, like, if we actually came together for, like, holidays or had family reunions, but we can't be fucking bothered. So we're dragging your ass to a funeral so we can show you off to the in-laws. And I was not okay with this as a kid. I was amazed when you told me that you'd never been to a fucking funeral before. It's like, you're older than I am, and you said you'd never been to a funeral before.
I've been to one viewing, and I recently had a friend that passed away, and we went to his funeral.
But, like, you barely got to that one because, like the bus schedule, like, you know, was fucked up, and, like, and then you had, like, that person that, like, was late and that took you there.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised how short the service was. I was expecting it to be a lot longer. I was glad it wasn't longer because, you know, it's not exactly a pleasant thing. But
no, it's not. It's like, for me, it can just be like, I don't know, it just depends on the kind of service. But that can go back into, like, more work tales, which I'll talk about later on. Hold on a second. Sorry, all of you had to hear that. That was just me blowing my nose. My angry nose and my angry face is part of my angry body. But...
So, children funerals.
Oh, yeah.
Plus
children.
Mosquitoes.
So, like, yeah, it's like in Hispanic culture, it's very common for, like, families to drag out their kids. All their kids. And also, it's very common for them not to give a flying fuck where they are. It's like, you know, it's like, guess what? We're a fucking funeral home. We're not a goddamn daycare. Don't bring, like, your 2 and 3 and 4-year-olds and just let them run around completely unfucking supervised. We are not there for that. It's like, if it was back in the day where it was perfectly okay to beat children when they misbehaved, I'd be down for that. Like, I would whoop ass on some kids when they're misbehaving. Hell, I might do it just if I'm in a bad mood. I don't care. They're not my kids. I don't got to deal with that shit later. If they get emotionally scarred, that's their problem, not mine. But like we're past that. We're in the age where you can't even look at a kid wrong without like someone complaining of child abuse. It's like, oh, go fuck yourself. It's like I've seen kids walking around like as soon as their parents try to tell them no, they just run up and start like biting and kicking at their parents. It's like my parents would have beat me to death with a shovel if I had tried doing that shit. Are you kidding me? Would have been bludgeoned to death. And they wouldn't have even like buried me. They would have strung me up on the front yard just so I could be a warning to all the other misbehaving children. Like a fucking effigy.
Yeah. And it's always people without kids who preach the loudest about that.
But like, so like they're bringing their kids there, and out there in the gravesite, like these kids, they're getting chewed up so much by the mosquitoes, they're fucking crying. They are crying and bawling because they can't take it. They're getting their fluids sucked out of them like there's a bunch of fucking Vlad Tepiches running around with silly straws. And like, they're itching up a storm, and a lot of them, they're just like fucking babies in carriages and infants and shit. And like, they're just screaming like goddamn fruit bats, and do the parents care? They don't give a fuck. It's a funeral. They will sit there ignorant of any sights, sounds, or stimulations that don't have to do with that casket going in that hole. It's like, God, think about your fucking kids. I mean, come on. It's like a good example of the parents not caring. Like, I've been to services where, like, when it was actually cold, and, like, not just cold, but, like, a cold front comes in, and it goes from, like, 78 degrees to, like, 42 degrees in the course of 30 minutes. So you see people out there dressed for, like, 78-degree weather, and suddenly it's, like, damn near freezing. And keep in mind, in Corpus, 60 degrees is sweater weather. That's how not used to the cold we are around here, because we don't get cold here very often.
Yeah, people fucking start freaking out when it goes below 70.
Yeah, it's like once you're in the 60s, like, that's fucking winter weather. It's like, I think I would drop dead if I went up to some place like Illinois where it can get into like the teens or lower. It's like, I'd be just a fucking corpse just standing there. It's like, is he waiting for the bus or is he dead? I don't know. Let's mug him anyway. So I've seen kids out there that were so cold because their parents dressed them for like moderate temperatures that they start crying and screaming because it's so cold, and the parents just like they don't care. They don't give a shit. Is like I said, is like they're the most stalwart individuals when it comes to a service. Is like they will not fucking move. You could throw rocks at them and they will just act like they don't even feel it. I've often suggested, and like not even in passing, that we need to like hire like a big greasy guy to like hide in the bushes in the cemetery, and like when people fuck about too long at the gravesite, that he comes out in a hockey mask and a machete and just chases people the fuck off. But at this point, I honestly think that he could be hacking people's limbs off and they would just stand there and not give a shit.
Well, let me know when that position's open.
I doubt you would run more than 2 feet. You wouldn't be good for that job.
I'm fat and greasy.
Yes, but you're not going to be chasing nobody to nothing.
Yeah, well, they're not going to run, so
You would just slowly heave yourself over there and be too tired to swing by the time you got there.
I think I could be entertained enough to do the swinging.
Well, maybe. Well, I'll believe it when I fucking see it. Like, yeah, it's just like...
Fats does not run for himself. Fats does not run for his family. Fats does not run for the ice cream truck.
No, the ice cream truck runs from you.
Yes, it does.
Just pictures of you on the inside saying, "Do not serve this man." Like a fucking mugshot.
Hey, ice cream! Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
Imagine it being like that fucked up episode of Dexter's Laboratory.
Really have mosquito flavored?
It's like, God, it's like sometimes the mosquitoes get so bad, I'm lucky I don't get fucking carried off. Sometimes I swear, I don't know if I'm seeing things. I think I'll see it just like a black cloud with like a chihuahua's leg sticking out of it, just being carried off into the sunset.
So does your stepdad still do the like buckets
Oh
outside?
God, yes. I'm glad you mentioned that because it's a good reminder of just. Oh God, another is just an interesting. I don't know. I honestly don't like admitting to anyone that I'm related to my parents sometimes because of just either the insanity or the vast wall of unlogic that they put around themselves. Case in point, my father. This is how my father deals with mosquitoes. And follow me along in this spiral into madness, will you?
This rabbit hole goes pretty deep.
And stupid, too. So, my father, in the backyard, he loves putting out every single object that he can that will hold water. He will put out old silverware, like spoons and shit. He will put out cups, like old cups and saucers, chinaware that he's found on the side of the road, or chipped, saucers and shit that, my mom doesn't use anymore. Like shit that he's found in the state sales and whatnot. He leaves them all out there. Old cups, plastic, glass, ceramic, doesn't matter. Bowls, plates, saucers, anything that'll hold any amount of water. Buckets, lots of buckets, heinous amounts of buckets. Just any physical object that can hold fluid at all, he puts it out in the backyard. Now, as a result, mosquitoes have turned our house into their number one hangout spot for an entire square fucking mile. So all the mosquitoes in our neighborhood, plus, all come to this area. Little other fact, mosquitoes generally have a range of about a mile from their spawning point. Well, not like a video game spawning point, but like from where they come out of the pond where they were laid down there as eggs. But so they'll generally go about a mile from there. But since my dad has all this shit out there to catch water, they automatically know to come to our house. It's probably at the point where they've genetically understood this just through evolution because they bred so many generations there.
Like monarch butterflies.
So yeah, they automatically know where to go, which is our fucking house. And they know the only ways we can get in or out, so there's always a cloud of mosquitoes at the front door of our house and the back door of our house. Now, I've argued with my dad for years about this, ever since I was a kid. I've argued, why would you do this? There's always mosquitoes at our house. I can run from my car to the front door in like less than 5 seconds, and I'm still getting bit at least 24 times all over my body. Not to mention the dozen or so mosquitoes that are in the process of feeding on me that follow me into the house that now I have to deal with while I'm in the house. And I have to hunt them down because I can't let them live, because then it just means more mosquitoes. And my dad says, oh, well, that's how I get rid of the mosquitoes. And he loves explaining this like he's proud of this. He says what he does is he waits for the mosquitoes to lay their eggs in the water. And then once they're in the water and they're in their larvae stage, he dumps out the water, thereby killing the larvae. Now, there's a couple of problems with this. And if you've been listening to us, you can probably already spot a couple of them. But let me go over them, just so that you don't fall into the same stupid logic that my father does. Problem number one. Mosquitoes bite you before they lay their eggs. Which means if you have mosquito breeding grounds in your backyard, you are not reducing the amount of mosquitoes biting you. You are increasing it. Because the female mosquitoes have had their eggs fertilized. They need your blood to mature the eggs in their bodies before they lay them. So they're going to come bite you. And once they bite you, they already know that there's water nearby. So they're going to go to the place that has the shortest amount of distance between blood and water, which is our house. So this just exacerbates the problem. Second problem, my father is very forgetful. I am very forgetful. I'm assuming it's hereditary. So he often forgets to dump out the water. Also, he doesn't dump out the water right away. He says, oh, well, the mosquitoes need about a good 3 or 4 days before they start breeding. This is wrong. As I've explained earlier.
It takes 2.
It takes 1.5, not even 2. If you wait 48 hours, you already have another generation of mosquitoes eating you alive. You need literally 24 hours. 24 hours is about as long as it takes for bite, egg, larvae. Anything more than that, and you're risking the larvae given enough time to mature and fly off to become adult mosquitoes. So, for one, even if my father did remember, his timetable's off. He thinks it's 3 to 4 days when it's actually 1 to 1.5. So already he's breeding 1 to 2 generations of mosquitoes right then and there. Third problem, all the mosquitoes in the area automatically come to us. They could have been evenly distributed around the neighborhood, but no, they're coming to us because they know that we have all the water. So you're bringing in even more mosquitoes. He is setting up a mosquito breeding ground like he's getting paid to do it. And every time I explain these points to my father, I am once again slammed face first into his unlogic barrier. Because he and my mother are old school Hispanics, and old school Hispanics generally prescribe to the idea of, I am older, you are younger. Until you become older than me, everything you say is wrong, regardless of what it is and how much evidence and logic and science you have to back it up. It is wrong and will always be wrong until you are older than me. Until then, you might as well just be saying banana, 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 for all the fucking good it does.
Well, also, even if he did dump the buckets in time, you're just putting the water in the ground, and they don't need much moisture.
No, they don't. It's like if so much as a teaspoon of that water, like, doesn't drain down, then they're still going to breed there.
Yeah.
Case in point, my dad really went the extra mile. He put out a kiddie pool that he bought in the backyard. A full fucking kiddie pool.
Dad's a fucking madman.
Yes, he is. That might explain why I'm a bit unhinged myself, but at least I like to think that I'm not that fucking, alarmingly stupid, painfully dumb.
When it gets a hard rain at my dad's house, he actually goes out there with a broom and squeegee and dries his fucking parking lot.
My dad does the opposite. He goes out there and sprays everything down with the water hose just to make sure there's enough water to get those mosquitoes a-coming.
He will actually go out to the curb with a broom and push all the water on his fucking curbside down the sewer just to keep the mosquito pits out of there. And he doesn't get as big of mosquitoes as the rest of the neighborhood.
Another problem we have in my neighborhood is that we don't have storm drains in our neighborhood. Because our neighborhood, we're next...
Oh yeah,
ours is right next to...
You got ditches and fields.
Yeah, there's a field right next to my house, and there's an irrigation ditch that runs alongside it. This ditch is one of the reasons that our foundation is completely fucked.
And full of mosquitoes.
Yes. But, the foundation isn't. Well, it might be full of mosquitoes for all I fucking know. Those bastards get everywhere, don't they? But it's so there's always going to, even if my dad didn't have, the ponds there's still going to be, water about. But it also means that all the water from the entire neighborhood drains down into my street and goes into the irrigation ditch down towards the sewer inlet, which is about half a block down. But it's just a mud ditch. It's not concrete. It's mud. It's just clay mud. So of course, once all the water that's done flowing, once it becomes stagnant, it's not going to move. It's not going to flow, and it's prime mosquito breeding ground.
God, I bet that stinks in the summer.
Oh, God, yes. It is like someone took someone's ass, turned it inside out, and then just left it out to fucking ferment in the sun. Just a prolapsed anus, just festering in the heat. Imagine that smell for a while, if you will. Use your imagination.
Oh, that reminds me, Taco Bell's coming out with a new burrito soup.
Yeah, that's a good thing to, like, you know, associate with the food where you work is like a prolapsed anus.
Hey, have you ever eaten Taco Bell? That'll happen.
Well, like, you're not eating the prolapsed anus. The prolapsed anus is what happens post-eating.
Yes. Well, you know.
I swear, like, that would be bad, like, if you had some sort of, like, visual, like issue where, like, every time you made a burrito, you just saw it as a prolapsed anus folded up at the end. That would be fucking just, I wouldn't be able to work there, and I'd never be able to eat there again.
Hi, sir, would you like to try the new pink burrito today?
With, like, the bits of chili just spackled here and there.
You got
the chili meat.
We've got the new Metamucil Fiber Push Slushie today.
Fiber Push. When you need the fiber to just, like, metaphorically get out and push.
Fiber Push Burrito. 6 scoops of Metamucil and chili sauce.
And ground beef of questionable quality. What grade is this? That's what you need to, like, you know, like when it has like the FDA rating, instead of like an A or a B or a C, it's just a UHHH, like ellipses.
Picture of a confused clown.
It's like, all right, what am I supposed to make of this?
It's not what you're supposed to make of it, it's what you're supposed to make with it.
Make out of it. It's funny how much we shit on them, and, like, at the same time, like, we constantly eat their food.
Well, you know, as much as I will make fun of Taco Bell, and I will gladly make fun of Taco Bell till the end of days, they actually do have high-quality food standards. You know, fuck what the comedians say, fuck what your friends say.
You wouldn't believe it by looking at it.
Yeah, they actually have some of the highest standards of fast food. And they are actually constantly striving to push it higher. So, yeah, Taco Bell, the food's real. When the people made a big deal about the beef not being 100% beef, yeah, it's not 100% beef. That other stuff is spices and seasonings and sauces to make the beef better. So, you know, yeah, that stuff doesn't count as beef. Oh well, it's still food.
If I put what was it, green peppers and chopped onions and, like, meat sauce, it doesn't mean that my meat sauce is only like 60% meat.
Yeah.
And the rest of it is question mark.
Yeah, that's...
Well, that's if you put, like, you know, green pepper and, like, you know, chopped onion in your meat sauce.
Yeah, well, you can put anything in meat sauce. You can put fucking Tic Tacs if you want to, but...
I can't even imagine what that would fucking taste like in the texture.
Well, it depends on what kind of Tic Tac flavor you use, I guess. The orange might not be too bad.
Do those even have flavors, or is that just psychosomatic?
If you eat more than one at once, yes, you can actually find the flavor.
Yeah, like, if you're popping those things individually, which is like what it suggests, like, you know, you're just cheating yourself.
Yeah, I think it's funny that they actually have the nutrition facts for one Tic Tac. Everything in there is so small and insignificant, they don't actually have to mark it.
But yet, like, the individual is like the serving size. Like, serving size, one Tic Tac. It's like, oh yeah, because that's gonna hit the spot. That's gonna fill you right up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fucking meal right there.
You buy a box of Tic Tacs, it's like, this is gonna be a good week.
Well, like the thing of 200 Tic Tacs, so this will get me through, like, the fucking nuclear winter. It's like, you know, did you bring your supplies before you went into the fucking vault and fallout? I got my pack of 200 Tic Tacs. That's 200 days of supply.
I got cherry and orange. I've got variety.
We won't be going bored or hungry.
Yeah, you thought you were smart for your 500 MREs.
Fucking wasteful is what that is. I've seen MREs for dogs recently. What the fuck is that about? I thought that was called dog food.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, no, you pour water and, like, it cooks itself. They've made dog food that makes its own gravy when you put water in it.
Yeah.
That's been a thing for a while. It's not new.
Yeah, no, I remember this one dry food my dad got. You'd pour water in and,
It says it makes its own gravy, not so much as it just turned the water an ugly, sticky brown.
It was kind of a red color and like kidney beans. Like, that shit you wash out of the can of kidney beans?
I've never had kidney beans before.
Okay, well, it's,
He's like, remember, I'm Hispanic. If it wasn't like pinto beans, then we didn't fucking eat it in our family.
Well, if you've seen kidney beans, that red color. Imagine, like, kind of a soupy water that's that color. Usually the dog would eat it before, like, the gravy even set in. So
yeah, a good dog. It's like, I don't know what it is about our dogs. No matter what we feed them, they fucking turn their nose up at it. It's like, you spiteful little four-legged fucks. You eat what I give you or you don't eat.
Oh, this is going to be in the bowl until you eat it, and I ain't refilling it till it's empty.
That's usually how it works. It's like, maybe they're just like, they only eat when they're hungry. I wish I had food like that. Just food you could just leave out in the open that wouldn't go bad for like a couple of days.
Oh man, yeah, lasagna you could just leave on the table.
You didn't have to worry about the meat turning on you or like it going bad.
The cheese going bad.
It was like, I can just leave this out for 3 days and just pick at it whenever I damn well feel like it.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, seriously, scientists, like, get to work on that shit.
Now.
Well, like, there's like, considering the amount of preservatives we have, you probably could, but it would probably taste like 80% preservatives and like 20% salt.
Well,
it's like, isn't salt a preservative? Like, yes, but it is own distinct flavor, separate of preservative.
Yeah. This lasagna's got to at least taste like 20% tomato sauce.
It's like, I swear, it's like, wow, we really got off topic, didn't we?
Yeah,
but fuck it, but I think... But like real quick, it's like my mother made like the best lasagna, and the fucked up thing was like she was the only one in her family who didn't like it, and she was the only one that could make it. I'm like, shit, now she won't make it. That's probably one of the reasons why I suffer from clinical depression. God damn it, I want to eat that stuff. She hasn't made it in like 15 years. And again, she barely makes food at all. I do most all the cooking in the house. And my parents refuse to eat it, not because they don't like it, but because I made it. Because, I don't fucking know. I've stopped trying to, like, understand their thought processes. I've gone, like, insane enough, like, dealing with that shit. I got enough problems in my life. There aren't enough hours in the day. Well, before we close this up, one thing I'd like to mention is like, hey, guess what? Angry finally got off his fat, lazy ass and managed to find a working copy of Windows Movie Maker, which in itself pissed me off. What the fuck is up with that? Why the fuck would Microsoft have a good, functioning, standard video making system that a lot of people use to make shit on YouTube, and then decide in 2017, guess what? We're not making it anymore. And not only that, we're going to take down all the download sites so no one can have it. If you didn't buy a computer before January of 2017, you can't get this thing. Period. They have like this new like Windows Media Maker thing that I downloaded. And that is the most basic bitch nonsense I've ever... You can make a slideshow, and not even a good one. It's like you can't adjust the timing on it. You can't adjust like the music very well on it. You put in pictures, it does the timing, it does the frame skip, it does whatever it fucking wants, and you fucking deal with it. If there's any other way to fucking adjust it, I can't figure it out. So fuck that noise. I had to go online, find the fucking website with a Wayback Machine link so I could download a 2012 version of Windows Movie Maker just so I could start editing these fucking things. Jesus. So, long story short, I finally managed to make a video. So hopefully within the foreseeable future, I will be able to start putting these things up on YouTube. They are not going to be pretty. They are not going to be very well edited. But maybe I'll learn as I go, or maybe I'll just be lazy and just fucking put, like, just a title screen to it, so we at least have something to show for it.
You know what's going to be great is, like, once we start uploading these things,
everyone's going to shit on it. It's like, oh, what'd you do? Like, have a 5-year-old make this on Windows Movie Maker? Go fuck yourself. You do it. You think you're so goddamn smart. You can edit for us, and we will pay you in insults.
Well, actually, I was going to say, people are going to be listening to these things and, going through our backlog catalog, getting to the point from where we started to the point that we've actually caught up, and we're actually modernizing the videos and dealing with actual fans and shit.
Hopefully. I'm assuming that, for the first year, we're not going to have more than 10 fans.
I don't expect us to have, a massive overload of fans. We're never going to be as big as, our idols, I don't think, but it'll still be
And that's
fun.
assuming that, YouTube's even going to be around that long. I got upset, when I was looking for, more places to post, I found out that a couple of, 2 other video hosting sites that I was looking into, they've already gone down. They've already, gone the way of the dodo. I'm like, Jesus Christ, that was fast. They were barely there for a year.
Yeah, well, YouTube's the big one. It's the one everyone knows.
But it's also everyone complains, oh, it's losing money. Oh, the apocalypse is oh, this and oh, that. It's I know for a fact that after the apocalypse, we're not going to be able to monetize these things because YouTube changed it up so that you can't monetize your videos and have swearing. And I will be fucking damned if I'm going to edit out every time I say fuck or any other swear word in this thing. Because then it's going to sound like watching The Sopranos on A&E.
Yeah, no, we're not going to cut the cussing just to get ads.
They'll still put ads on it. You bet your ass they'll do it. We just won't get any money out of it.
Yeah, but maybe we can benefit from a Patreon or merch or something like that. If we're only making $10 a month, hey, it's $10 a month.
Hey, that's $10 for food.
Yeah,
we can go out and get food once a month.
Yeah, our fans give us a nice lunch before we record a video. Hey, cool.
A nice lunch. Not a big lunch, not a good lunch, but a nice lunch.
Yes, a nice lunch at Taco Bell. We'll get the big burrito and the fiber bush freezy. Then we'll record our fart sounds to show you our gratitude.
This is the fruits of your labor.
Beans, the musical fruit.
Alright, well that's going to be it for right now. In short, mosquitoes fucking suck and we hate them. And we're going to have to deal with this shit for a while because these flying fucks aren't going anywhere anytime soon.
Yes, and for those of you who have stuck it out during our transitional experimental get the shit on the web phase, thank you very much. We hope to continue entertaining you and your friends.
Alright, as usual.
Either way, we're still going to entertain your mom. Oh yeah, your mom's a slut.